Welcome to the buffet where we mix up food, music, and culture on one big platter. So today we have an iconic choreographer with us. She is not only a choreographer, she's also a creative director. She's also into fashion. She's into so many things, and it's an absolute pleasure to have her on the show today. Welcome to Toniah. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure being here.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, thank you.
Yeah, you look great. You look amazing.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you so much. I didn't get so much sleep. I don't know if the eyes are revealing a little bit, but that's how it is sometimes.
No, not at all. You
Not
look
at all?
Sparkling and ready.
It's all the makeup.
Oh.
It's all the makeup. But I can see you have like a natural glow on your face. You don't need any makeup.
Well, I'm not good at makeup.
You're not good at it?
No.
Well, I think it was a good thing for your skin.
Yeah.
I'm actually not aware of your roots because you're probably from somewhere else besides Denmark too.
Yes.
I presume.
My mother is Danish.
Mhm.
I don't know where my father is from.
Okay.
But I took a DNA test.
Yeah.
And it said that I Sierra Leone, Tanzania, Nigeria.
Okay.
And then the rest of the percentage is the West Coast.
The West Coast. That's interesting. So you're like a powerhouse and a big mixture of cultures, actually.
Big mixture, yes.
Did you connect somehow with your roots from Africa?
Yeah, I will. I think I've connected with them basically throughout my whole life. My mom has been really good at introducing me to the African culture with the music and yeah, just things that she would introduce me to. And then later on in life, well, I've always danced, and then later on in life, I found hip hop, and then I was like, that's home.
That's home. That felt like home. Okay. Like movement says a lot about how we feel and also is a great expression of how we feel. And I would like for us to take it back, like back to how it all began. And there was like this story that I read about that it started for you at a club in LA doing some freestyling. And that's like a total movie scene. So what's the next scene? What happened after that?
So yes, I went to LA because some manager I met told me I should come to LA because I would have a great future within modeling. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I went, and I went to all these different agencies, and I got turned down every day and was told that I had too big teeth and too big cheekbones and my thighs were too thick. And
What?
yes. And so to lick my wounds, I went to the clubs at night because I knew I could dance.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to shake this off.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then one night in that club, well, actually, several nights in several different clubs, I've kept seeing this one woman. And I thought she was quite interesting. And then one night she came up to me and then she was like, hi, my name is Fatima. I was wondering, do you do choreography? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she was like, so, well, I have an audition. Well, not, yeah, a tryout. I would like to try you out. We're looking for a dancer for Heavy D. He has a performance. And the crazy part about this is that here in Denmark, I'd been in a club where they had a club called Baby, where they played hip hop. And when they played Heavy D, we would all go to the floor and we would do a cypher and we would go absolutely crazy.
Yes.
So for her to say yes, and this is for Heavy D, I almost fainted. I was like, yes, I can come tomorrow.
That's crazy.
Yes, so I went, and her and her partners, they looked at me and they were like, yeah, you're in. I was like, ah.
That's amazing.
And then I started rehearsal, and then that was a whole nother story because it was so tough.
It was tough?
Yes, it was very tough. It was so tough that at a point they were like, I remember they came to me one day and they were like, you need to dance full out. And coming from Denmark, because we have another touch about dance.
Yeah.
Well, back then, not anymore. Now we're
full out.
Now we're full out. Now
way and beyond. Yeah.
We're equally good as they are over there.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
but back then it was more. I don't know, laid back. I don't know. I was just very laid back. So they were like, "You have to be full out now because otherwise we can't bring you." And I was like, "Oh my God!" I danced so hard that I thought I was gonna puke.
Wow.
And I went home and I laid myself in the tub with Epsom salt because my muscles were so like tensed, and I was like, if they can't, I'm like, if this is not full out, then I can't, then I can't cut it.
I see.
And then they called me and it was like, that's what we need. So like, that's where you need to be. That's how you need to perform. I was like,
okay.
Okay.
I have to do this every single time?
I have to do this.
Kill myself.
Exactly.
Oh, shit.
And then they said, and also, side note, if Heavy D, he likes you for this one job, which was a radio job, kind of like how they had at some point in Tivoli, the Voice and all of that, where all the artists comes in. They had the same thing for a radio station out there. And then they were like, if he likes you, then you get on tour.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
Okay.
So the day came and I had to meet up at a hotel, and I went to the hotel and I met some of the other dancers, and we walked outside, and there was this big white limo.
Yeah.
And I was just staring at that limo because all I'd seen was on movies. And I was like, oh my God, it's really big in like real life.
Yeah.
And then the door opens and they like, get in. I was like, what? It's like, get in. Okay. So I walk into the limo, and then Heavy D is sitting inside of the limo. I almost fainted. I was like,
Oy.
ah! And I didn't know what to do. And I was like, left, right, center, what to do, when, and he was like, hey, what's up, girl? I was like, hey, what's up?
Wow.
And we went to the spot, and I danced with the other girls. And when we were done, Fatima came up to me and she was like, you got the job. I was like, you're going on tour. We're going stateside all the way around.
Wow. So that does actually sound like a movie. Naveed, I have a great idea for the next movie you want to do. Like with the main character and her story. I think really it could be a movie. Somebody should write that script. Okay, but that's like a dream come true for... How old were you back then?
20.
20 years old. Okay. To be honest with you, I think dancers have always been very underestimated.
Oh, amen to that.
And I'm like in love with dancing. I don't dance myself, but I wish I could. I'm into a lot of other things like music production, DJing and stuff. But I followed many dancers actually. I think a couple of them you also know. But I went to LA with one of my friends who's also a dancer, and I saw like how the influence of LA has actually reached to Denmark. And I think you've been one of the people who brought some of that mentality and that hard training. But also I see you being very rooted, and I think our Danish mentality is a little bit more chilled, and we like to have both feet on the ground. So it's like a world of difference between Denmark and LA. But I see the influence coming to Denmark, the good side, but also the bad sides. That you have this extremeness about everything that you do. And I think the hustle culture over there, it's necessary because of that. We don't have the same thing. It's just my opinion. We have everything here, like the comfort is too comfortable. So sometimes we don't hustle or feel the need to hustle like that. So for me, it was very interesting to actually experience that also as a creative myself, because even my own mood and my own motivation and my ambitions, they change when I'm in LA. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about these things, like what do you do to stay grounded and be authentic? Because that is actually what I see. I've been following you for a long time. And one thing that I've always really admired about you is no matter how big jobs you've done, like I can do the name dropping for you, Mary J. Blige, Backstreet Boys, Lukas Graham, and I don't know what more you've done, X Factor, Eurovision and stuff like that. That's huge for anybody in Denmark to get that and keep that. So you've created a legacy. And I know a lot of the other choreographers in Denmark, they look up to you and come to you for advice. So, like, how do you do all of that? Because people sometimes tend to lose themselves in all of that.
Good question. I think, no, I know.
Yeah.
I have always stayed humble. In the sense of, I've always said, I have more to learn. So even though that I have done all those jobs, I don't go from that and go, I'm the shit, now I've done da-da-da-da-da, so I can do da-da-da. I've never done that. Yeah. I learn from everything that I touch, basically. And I think staying humble and staying curious, because there's always new avenues that opens up. Mm-hmm. And to go down some of them and investigate and see what is this and be curious about that is one of the things I think that has kept me on the go for that long.
That's a very, very eminent value to have and carry with you. That's like one of the things that I think a lot of young people lack in their upbringing, and their coaches actually coaching them in. Remember to stay humble. It's not about competition. Always compete with yourself, of course, to become a better version of yourself daily. But I see, and I've experienced like firsthand, the competitiveness takes over, and people, especially in Denmark, because there are so few big roles or roles that are significant commercially, that people tend to do this, or they don't really want the other person to have whatever. So, and I know that somehow you've created a different space, like a safer space, although you're into commercial things, because I see that in some of the things that I'm following. And what's like the best advice, or some of the best advice that you could give for upcoming dancers? Because I know you've touched grounds with a lot of them that you're still working with, and you work with the best. But what would be a good advice for your fellow dancers or younger dancers?
Well, basically, I started 10 years ago, actually. I started a thing called tribism because I was... it saddened me to see that the dance culture had turned into just competition and choreography, like steps.
Yeah.
The dancers, they didn't know, so it was just like, because the market within dance is so open now, so everybody's just taking from everybody and just putting it into this one big pile, and then they do choreography, and then, but nobody knows where the things are coming from. Yeah. Nobody knows the technique behind the things. Yeah. So, and then also the dance culture, especially, I think actually it is a little bit worldwide, but here in Denmark, let me just stick to here. It is, I wouldn't call it healthy.
Exactly.
Because it's like, I need to be better than the one next to me, then they go to all these competitions, and then they want to win, obviously, but they're not rooted because they don't know what the things that they're doing. They don't know where they come from. So to go against all the dance schools, I did tribism. Yeah. And I selected 20 people from the age of 12 to 20, and I had them to meet up once a week, and they didn't have to pay.
Wow.
And the way I paid for the studio was I was teaching a class prior for the studio, so that then I could have the studio afterwards.
Okay.
And then we would meet up and just dance. And what was important for me to tell them was, first, actually, I call it the playground, because I was like, we play. Here we play. It's not about that we need a final something, like there's not an ending. We're not working towards anything. We're simply just here because we love to dance. And it's important for me to teach you where you dance from. Because if you dance from your heart, sky's the limit. Yeah. If you dance with your brain, there's a limit.
There is a limit.
And we ended up doing all sorts of things, and we had a blast. And it was crazy fun to have. And then I terminated the program because I used really a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because we went on adventures, we went on trips, we did videos. It was ongoing.
Okay.
So then I terminated it, and then a year and a half maybe after that, I started a new thing. But it had this kind of the same ethos around it, which was I need people to learn foundation.
Yeah.
Because people don't understand why I don't hire them when they can pick up choreography like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really don't care if you can pick up choreography like that, because when you dance, it doesn't groove. You don't have the groove because no one has taught you the groove. So then I made the ritual, and it's all about foundation.
It's all about foundation.
It's all about foundation. And it goes once a month for the full weekend.
Okay.
Where they dance, and I bring in teachers, old-timers, who's been in the game for a long time, and who are specifically master different styles within hip-hop.
Okay, I see.
And then they go in and they teach the kids, and then they tell them stories as well, and tell them where it comes from and how it started, and so they also get the story, so that they get to start to understand what it is that we're actually doing here.
That's amazing. I mean, that reminds me a little bit about my trip to Ghana. I went to Ghana to visit DWP. You probably know that. And they make a lot of these foundations that we are imitating here. And the way that they teach it is exactly this that you're talking about, that you have to be present in what you're doing. It is about technique too, but if you don't have your heart in it, you won't feel it. So it's much more about feeling. It's much more about letting go of all of the control in your head and becoming one with the art, becoming one with the sound. And also as a musician, I know when you're playing with a band, you can't do your solo show. You have to really be on tune, on the same frequency, and feel the energy that is inevitably going to be around you because you're playing with frequencies, right?
Exactly.
So it's the same thing that I see in dancing, that it's the same thing. You have to be one, united, as one being, actually, instead of position 1, 2, and 3 that are doing whatever they're doing. And you can be in sync, but I feel that there's a certain feeling for the audience that will lack if you're actually not in sync here.
Exactly.
And it's very interesting. I think for me personally, because I'm doing the buffet exactly because of art and culture and the authenticity behind these things. And I feel like, of course, it's important for us to be in the modern age, but I also feel like there's a lot of the love behind the art and the purpose behind the art that is just missing because of the competitiveness and because of the social media culture. I love social media, I do social media, but again, there are certain parts of it that becomes very toxic. Depends on why you're doing it, right? If you're looking for something that you're genuinely, sincerely interested in to become better, it's one thing, or if you're using it to compare yourself and say, I want to do that better, it completely loses its value, or it changes its value for the person experiencing that on social media. So do you have anything to say, something to say about the fast-paced time that we're living in and how it affects movement and how people, how do you see that? Because I just shared my thoughts about it.
What, within dance or just in general?
Well, you can say both, actually. In general is very interesting, but...
Within dance, I think, like I mentioned before, I think it takes out on the quality. Because I always refer to ballet dancers. There's a reason why, even though you are the star of the show as a ballet dancer, you have the lead. That person will still be standing the next morning at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, doing the pliés and the tendus and whatnot to keep in shape and to be on point with the technique. That discipline lacks. within the urban dance. They don't do that.
No.
And they don't understand that.
Uh-huh.
And then with TikTok coming on board, it has just made it even worse because people think that if they can just stand there and wiggle a little bit on the screen in that format, then they can dance. But what has happened is that all dance doesn't move now. And when I say move, I mean crossing. So like if you look at the old movies,
Yeah.
they were all about, going back and forth and crossing in between and making, different patterns and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you don't have that in the same way now. People stand because they have to fit in the frame. So they're standing, dancing there. So when these people get hired to do choreography, they don't move. So you just have this stale frame of people standing there. It's slowly changing for the better, but it's taken a long time for it to do so. And there's still too many people that thinks that dancing in the frame of the TikTok is just enough. So to answer your question about the pace, I think it's going fast, and for some people it's going too fast.
Too fast.
Because they lack the information that they actually need in order for them to proceed to become what they wish to be.
Or maybe also lack the interest of that, because
that too.
I've managed a couple of artists here from Denmark, and one of them blew up on Instagram and TikTok. Like, we're talking millions now. And I used to do videography for her. And what I also saw, it was always about the framing. And also some of the commercial schools over here, I went there as a videographer, and it was always about who can fit in the frame and you move a certain way. So I started feeling a certain way, and I actually talked to my fellow colleagues about these things, like, what about the heart? What about the feeling? Or what about the actual love for dancing? Because if you're just doing it for the camera to sell a product, then people are not gonna learn how to actually love their craft. They're gonna hate it at the end because you're always gonna be compared to somebody else. Because you're doing that, you're putting that up against yourself. Like, she's doing it better than me. And you're forcing people to think the same way. Because I believe in, like, you generate the same energy that you...
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's why I really wanted to talk to you, because I've been in the field behind the camera and also personally with these dancers to see if we could actually bring back some of the love, some of the fun. And I know it's very serious in the commercial industry. It's not because it's easy at all, but still, the more I feel like this, the more you're having fun, also as a band, the more you're having fun as a dancer, the more it actually shows to the public, and they have fun with you because they sense that energy coming out of you. So it was like, it's a very nice way that you put it, like, and I think we would love to hear more about what you're doing with the ritual.
So the ritual, they meet once a month, and then they had 8 hours of dance. I'm very picky with the teachers that I choose because it's important for me that when they come and they spend the full weekend, that they also leave the weekend thinking, whew, I learned a lot.
The teachers?
No.
The students?
The students. Okay. But it's also important for me that the teachers also understand that it is a safe space, and it's not about pushing limits and, having that, like, kind of hard talk or like I don't need all of that. I just need for them to make the students understand where this style is coming from, where it's originated, why it is moving like it's moving, how it's moving like it's moving. And then in that way, give them little challenges, but as a unit. So not single one out and be like, oh yes, just look at this one. Like, none of that.
Yeah.
And also, no, we don't. When I film it, it's not about, yes, so now group 1, group 2, none of that.
Okay.
It's the whole bunch.
Shame on me.
No,
I've,
but
I've contributed a little bit to that
Yeah,
because I had to film,
Yeah, but you probably also was told to do it like
Yeah.
that. So, and then we have every second month, we have, I bring them food. So we sit down and we talk and to like, also so that they in between one another, they create friendships and feel the safe space where they can be and express themselves without feeling that they have to be extra this and extra that, but that they can actually just relax and learn.
And learn. And have a nice meal.
And have a nice meal and a session. And then we have a session afterwards where they then just put on the music and then they just dance wildly for 3 hours and then they go home.
That's amazing. Speaking of food, we also
Yes.
have that on the buffet.
Yes.
And it's interesting how you actually said that you're using food also to mediate something greater. And we're doing the same. So today we have food from Gaza Grill once again. I didn't know that you loved it so much as you do.
Love it.
I really want to promote this place because it's doing so much good. First thing is they're using organic products as much as possible. They're also very much into sustainability. And I think 5% of whatever they sell goes to Gaza, the cause of Gaza. And I think 10% of the merchandise actually goes to that too. And I know it's a very, very, very important topic, right? It's been for a long time, to be honest with you.
It's been for a very long time, yes.
So when you go to Gaza Grill, you're eating with a good conscience and making a difference somehow and having a great meal. So make sure to go visit them. Let's have the food. Okay, so all of a sudden, in a magical way, the food just arrived on the table. But let's have a meal from Gaza Grill. I think they sent us falafel, hummus, fattoush. I'm not sure what that red paste is called. Do you know what it's called?
I don't know what it's called.
We had it with Tia too, but I forgot the name. I'm so sorry. I'll ask them. And some shawarma, I think, beef and chicken. So let's dig in and talk about like flavors of food, maybe flavors of life, and most of all, like maybe some of the flavors from your roots. Like, what are your favorite foods to eat?
Well, what are my favorite foods?
That's the deepest question I've asked so far. Huh?
No, but it's because I'm quite versatile actually within food. I like all kinds of food.
Something that makes you feel like home.
That will be like an Italian soup called minestrone.
Minestrone. Comfort food.
Comfort food, and because I got that a lot when I was living with my family.
Okay.
And that was like my favorite joint, and I actually got it last night.
Oh.
Yes.
Like, would you cook it up yourself or?
My family, they cook it up all the way from the bones of the chickens to the,
Okay, so you do actually care a lot about food because today, again, it's very easy to just order food and it's a very busy life and people don't really, I don't know, eat the same way that we used to.
No. I mean, I've always made it a big thing. I have 2 kids, and I've always been very important to me that as they grew up, they would, like, we would have dinners together and we would have breakfast together, and like that would be our meeting point. And it's funny, right before I got here, I was making Thai soup for them. So it's,
You're a soup kind of person, huh?
I love soup. Well, actually, hey, that was my favorite,
Yeah.
Love soup.
Soups, okay. I usually ask artists about this, like if you would give yourself a dish, which dish would you be?
Soup.
A soup. Very fluent.
Very fluent.
Uh-huh.
But it depends on how you do it, though, because if you put enough vegetables and things in it, then, you know, it can become quite thick.
Yeah, then it's not a soup anymore.
No, well, no, not really, but we still call it soup.
Yeah. I see. Okay, so food from Italy, like everywhere, because I think every cuisine has a soup, except Pakistani food. I've never really seen soup in Pakistan. Have you? Dal?
Yeah.
Can you call dal soup?
Ish. A little bit
Okay.
thick, but it's still, you know.
I don't think I've ever tasted soup, Pakistani soup. We have this thing called yakhni. Yeah, that's broth. You know broth?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only thing we cook up that I would have if I was really, really sick.
Mm-hmm.
Then something like that, made from beef or something, but mainly the bones.
The bones. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that's the soup they did. So they cooked up the broth from chicken bones, and then they made the minestrone.
That's amazing. I love that you're actually everything that I've imagined in my head, because you only see the persona on television, and some people have a persona that is much more public, and something else in private, and that's also very like understandable. People put on different masks for different occasions.
Yeah, now that's too much work.
It's better to just be yourself all the time, huh?
Yeah.
That's why you feel like, although I've only met you a couple of times and you don't remember the times, but I've just had the same feeling like since I was a kid until now. I'm 40 years old now, so I think I met you the first time when I was 18, so it's been quite some years. And you also helped us out with something. It was a social project. Hence again the humility. No job is too small. That's what it seems like. That's actually something that I would personally say to the dancers out there. You should be inspired by that, because your worth is not really depending on what kind of job you did. If you measure it up with that, you're going to have very low self-esteem, no self-confidence. How to build a person's confidence.
Ooh. Oh, wow. I think my best examples are my kids. Like when they've come and said, yeah, I'm going to be standing in, I don't know, Central Park and sing or something. I'm like, yeah, you do you. Yeah, sounds great. But it takes a lot of work. Like you can't just, you can't just go to Central Park and sing, but I doubt anyone will connect with that. You have to practice. And I've always told them that it's important to study your craft. I feel there's this tendency as well these days that, but if you think about it, then it will come to you. And it's like, no.
The law of manifestation.
Exactly. You've completely misunderstood the point.
Yeah.
You have to get good at it. And then maybe when you dream of whatever, a gig or whatever, then it may surface. But you have to be able to present something.
Yeah.
Like you can't just sit down at home and think, I want to be the biggest da-da-da, and then don't do anything. And then unfortunately, I think that is actually what is going on with the younger generation these days, because so many people are making it within the social media without actually, I'm going to get slandered for this one, but without even actually having a talent.
Having the talent, yeah. No, I don't think you should be slandered for that, because it is very easy today to get known on social media. You can be very pretty or have an appeal that people just like for their own reason, but the talent of dance isn't necessarily their main skill. It could be the presence, right? Just that.
Exactly.
So I don't think you should be slandered, or anybody should actually take this as an offense, because that's the truth. Like if you see real dancers that put effort into it every single day, sometimes they break their knee or their toe or their finger, whatever, practicing and doing these hard things. And I also know that some of the dance movements requires your body to be so flexible that sometimes it can't even follow up. So you have pains all over and stuff like that. But it's like the same in music, because there was a time where you really had to be an amazing singer before you could be discovered or really make it. Today we have all of these filters and auto-tunes and all of these things that we can put on the vocals to just pretend that the singer is amazing. And most of the stuff is done by the producers. Not to hate on anybody, because there's space for everybody, because people also like that sound. But again, coming back to authenticity, why did these things emerge in the first place? What is art? Like, that's for me, the main expression of humanity, because that's how you interpret feelings. And if you turn that into a product or just do it mechanically because you make money off of it, or only for the attention, where's the worth, the value? It becomes hollow for me.
I agree.
So yeah, social media is good in one sense, of course, because now you can also do very little and get recognition.
I mean, when I hear the prices that some of these people, or the salary that some of these people get, I'm like, then sometimes I also have to knock myself on the head and be like, okay, but you can't shoot people down for because they found the gap. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So I also do actually respect that they can actually make a living out of it.
100%.
I want to allow myself also to say, but you don't have a craft. It's not a craft.
The craft is being good at social media, actually, more than it's dancing.
Yeah, but then I'm like, but it's okay. So maybe you need some sort of craft to get the right framing and get the right filter and get the right whatnot. I don't know, because I don't do all of that. So
it's all about the hook. The first 2-3 seconds, that's what it's about.
Okay.
When you have the attention of your audience, first 3 seconds, that's it.
But see, I don't even know all of that. So a little bit of craft is tended, I guess.
It is. It's like everybody wants to be good at social media, but only a few are actually. And it's also an art.
So it is an art form.
It is, but just different. It's not the common art, classical arts. But I think being good at something or grasping what it requires is actually a kind of craft, kind of art.
Yeah. But I think when it comes to, I think why I say it like this is because when I see people, like, for instance, dance, then I'm like, in one way, I get annoyed because I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Now we're doing these 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's like, what is that? But at the same time, it has also done dance so popular. So there's actually a lot of work for dancers. I mean, you don't see any American star without like 10, 15, 20 dancers behind them these days. And dancers are getting more recognized, and they're getting paid more properly, and all of that. But it's just, I just think it's because I don't understand. I understand what it does, but I don't understand the techniques behind it.
Yeah.
So who am I actually to sit here and just shoot it down and tell them that they don't have a craft? But
no, I think that it's more in terms of the dance being the craft behind it.
yes.
So that's the important part. That if you're promoting yourself as a dancer, at least you should know dancing.
Yeah, you should know how, where, and when. Yeah.
I think it's just as important. It is just as important as, for me, a singer to be good at singing. Because when you're doing live shows, I know today you can bring your autotune, but it's just not. It's not cool. I don't think it's cool. I think again I think the people who are getting paid a lot for their posts on TikTok and stuff, it's because they're promoting something. They're promoting
Themselves.
Yeah, but if somebody is like paying you, it's because you're promoting their product. So it's like advertisement now. On television, we used to see commercials like every 5th minute or something. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that. And now we've just shifted the same thing to social media. You're exposed to buying stuff all the time. Like you look at somebody wearing a cool T-shirt, and they would actually write if it's a commercial because they have to, and they would be selling all of that. So it's a way for brands to just get their products seen through different influencers that have made it on TikTok and on Instagram. And they do use dancers a lot too.
A lot. Dancers and non-dancers. But I also think I think it's also a question about why you're doing it. Because one thing is that you want to make money, but I also think it's all the whole see me aspect and getting famous with that. I think that's hard.
I've seen a lot of people also go down, like with complete stress, because they don't know how to maintain that
Exactly.
momentum that they got, because then they have all of these people relying on you to have answers to things that you don't know anything about. But because you're an influencer, you should know about this and that, and if you don't, then you would be like slaughtered completely. Cancelled. It's like the cancel culture is also very huge. So I love everything for the best things that they have to offer, and I also dislike the things that it also brings, because we're human beings. Our ego's so huge.
Humongous.
And I think it's very important to keep talking about these things, because the way I see the influence on young people today, it's really bringing them down much more than it's bringing them up. Of course, it's so dope that you can have a career in social media and succeed in that. But what about all of the downsides? It's like with everything else, if we're not looking at, I love food, but if it becomes a problem and you become obese because of that, then it's a problem, right? By the way, did you like the food?
I love the food.
Which dishes are like your favorite?
No, it's all just equally great.
So it's like
It's 100 out of 100.
100 out of 100. Well, that's a new score. That's the first time we've had that on the show.
No, it's delicious. Very recommendable.
Very, very big shout out to Gaza Grill. So speaking of TikTok and things becoming a trend, I know that, these dance challenges, like if something becomes popular, everybody's gonna do it. It's fun, but it's not timeless in the same way, because one trend replaces another trend, right? But what about like timeless movements? Do you have any moves that you feel are like timeless? You were talking about grooves and foundations before.
One of my best references is actually Alvin Ailey. Alvin Ailey is a dance company in New York. And the founder, his name is Alvin Ailey. He created this dance company for only black dancers because he was tired of not having any. There were no companies that would hire black ballet modern dancers.
Okay.
So he created that. And then the dance that they do is black history.
Wow. Like the storytelling is black
It's
history?
very storytelling.
Okay. That's amazing.
There's this one dance where there's this woman in this white dress. And I remember I think I was like 10 years old when I went in. My mom took me in and saw that with my aunties. This woman came in and she was completely bald. And then she was just wearing this dress and she was dancing like it was her last dance. And I was sitting like this and I was like, gobsmacked. I don't even think I was taking a breath.
Wow.
And that hit me. But it hit me because she was in it.
Yeah.
She was living it.
Wow.
Like she was in that environment. She was in that segment of whatever that story was. She was in it and you could feel it and you could feel the struggle and you could feel the love and you could feel the despair. And everything was going.
Wow.
That is memorable. When you do something where people are like, oh, okay, you don't need 40 people to swing around and do in-sync choreography or any of that.
I see.
Heart first.
Heart first.
Heart first.
That's why you are here, Tanya, because this is exactly what we stand for. Like, we do things from the heart, do it for a purpose that is greater than ourselves. I think every purpose should have that kind of feel to it, that it shouldn't be about the individual, but it should be about the bigger picture. That can be God for somebody, that can be community for somebody else, it could be the art for another person, but still. And I'm very, very happy and so proud actually to have you on the show, because you've really created a legacy. And that legacy means something deeper than just commercial dancing, because commercial dancing is dope, but the authenticity that I keep going back to comes exactly from people having the heart first. That's what shows in everything that you do. I also see you being very strict. It's not that, because hard work is very, very necessary. And I think pushing our children to become the best versions depends on how you do it, but still independence really, really gives children something great when they become adults. So being good at cooking or being good at dancing or being good at something, that's the thing that I wanted to talk to you about. And you said it so beautifully through your kids that, yeah, believe in them and show them that there is a way, but you need to put the hard work into it, because, the manifestation, it's true that your thoughts are very powerful, but thoughts need action before the universe knows if you really want it or not, right? And the more you do something, like you went to LA, you were 20 years old, you thought you were going to do this and that, but you got rejected. And it wasn't a rejection. It was, for me, the universe trying to navigate you around those things, because this was your destiny. I believe very much in destiny, right? So that's amazing. I wanted really to thank you from my heart for being one of the persons that is iconic, and not because of the big things that you've done, but because of the person you are and the things that you stand for. We love that about you. I personally do. So thank you for that, and also for sharing all these amazing things with us. Actually, Munib was supposed to be here today, our co-host. He's sick, so we miss him a lot, but he was supposed to do some fun segments with you with dancing. We would love to have you on the show again another time.
I would love to come back.
Where we could do some movement too, and maybe you could teach me a thing or two, because I suck so badly, and I figure out what it is.
What is it?
It's my insecurities, because I think I can move, but I don't dare in front of people. So somehow I need to have those mental blockages just completely destroyed. But yeah, I think dancing is one of the things that can really change people.
And that is guaranteed.
Right?
Yes, that is guaranteed.
I dream about that, really, I do.
But it's also because people have, just like yourself, have that first self-awareness about being, no, I can't dance. But everybody can dance.
Okay.
And the reason why I say it like that is because everybody can dance. It is just because you're getting influenced by the social media and the TV and whatnot on how it should look when you dance. But that's just one way of doing and expressing yourself.
Yeah.
If you just fly around the room and you flop with your arms and and the music is making you do whatever you do, you dance.
Yeah. You gave me hope. You
really you dance. Do you understand what I mean?
I do understand what you mean.
Yeah. So it's not, dance doesn't have a specific look. Dance is a feeling. And that is what is so important.
It's so true. It's so true. You just motivated me to start dancing. Because
start at home. Just put on the music and just move around. Yeah, you don't have to dance for everybody else. Just dance for yourself.
I couldn't dance for everybody else. I'm too shy. I could not. But I think I need to do something about that. Maybe like, that's great advice. I mean, I take it in. I'm 40 years old now. I think just that factor, like me starting at this age, has been also a big blockage. But you said yourself, like Tanya said, that everybody can dance, so there's still hope for me.
Everybody can dance.
Everybody can dance. Okay. I used to say also to my students that I taught singing, that everybody can actually sing. And it's true, because you can teach yourself to do a lot. And first of all, teach yourself not to limit yourself, because we're all born with different potential. That's one thing. But we can learn something that we don't maybe have a natural talent for, but it's a matter of perception, I think.
It is so much a matter of perception.
I think we have 3 minutes left. Oh.
Time really goes fast here.
It does, because we're having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good flow.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm trying to round it up, although I would love to have like a longer conversation, and that's why we would love to have you on the show
I
again.
was about to say, then we have to do it again.
We have to do it again.
Yes.
And maybe I think you should bring one of your students, just, you know, and I should bring one of mine.
I can do that.
Yeah, it would be amazing just to do a small segment of something where we not learn a choreography, but we would just learn a little bit about the feeling of movement in the way, like letting yourself go.
Just let yourself go. Oh, that would be fun. Free dance.
Free dancing. I could play some dope music. Like, I was ready today, but
Then we make a club.
actually, Tanya, we do have a party the 10th of May here, this spot.
Oh, okay.
Mudeeb and I were playing like music from every culture, mixing it up with dancehall, reggaeton, amapiano, Afrobeats, like Desi music and Arabic music and African, like every kind of music, but with the genres that really make you move. So, yeah, I'm gonna send you an
I was
invitation.
about to say, send me a mail.
I'll send you.
about that,
You
yes.
should come and you should bring some of your. It's actually a ladies' night, and it's because where I come from, Pakistan, we a lot of the Desi girls, they don't really party at clubs and stuff because of the cultural aspect of it. They don't drink. So we've chosen to be inspired by Fred's Coffee. They have this coffee and party, non-alcoholic parties. So we don't have coffee, we have mocktails, and we have street food and amazing music. So I'm gonna send you an invite for that.
That sounds like my kind of party. I don't drink either, so.
Yes. See, maybe Tanya's gonna be there, so make sure to be there on the 10th of May. But thank you so much for being on the show, and I look forward to do this once more.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure having this conversation.
Yeah, for me too.
Yes,
Definitely.
and the food.
Food was amazing.
Food was delicious.
Make sure to follow Tanya on every platform if you want really authentic take on movement and just on art. Like, she's a very lovely person. So I'll make sure to put all your tags in the description below. And please subscribe to our channel, you know, all of the yada, yada, yadas. I'll see you next time on the buffet. Bye.
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 Bye.